conference will now be recorded.
In the last class, we discussed on what is cybersecurity, on that what is SOC module, SOC, Security Operational Center. For doing the SOC operations, Security Operational Center, we need a SIEM tool, Security Information and Event Management tool. The tool, we have a multiple tools, but we are choosing a Splunk because of multiple options are there. So today I am explaining why we are going to choose a Splunk over the other tools. Now our agenda is okay. This is cybersecurity. On the cybersecurity, your module is SOC, Security Operational Center. For doing the Security Operational Center, we need a tool, SIEM tool, Security Information and Event Management tool. There are multiple tools are there. Okay. On the tools, why we are going with Splunk mostly? Why we are showing love towards the Splunk? This is my class today. Okay. So in that case, the first, there are multiple tools in the market. ELK, Sumologic, Dynatrace, AppDynamics, Negios, Datadog, Logstash, Lazily, IBM Creda, SolarWinds, McAfee, HP Oxide, SIEM tool, RSA Envision, Logarithm, Netcool, okay, like LogDNA, okay, Datadog, Guard Duty, Sentinel, not today, 12:30, 12:30. Datadog. Apart from that, we have something like Clonical, Google Clonical, multiple tools. EDR tools are there, CloudStrike, CyberArk, like multiple tools are there, all which will be work with the log data, which will be work with cybersecurity. Okay, but why we are going with Splunk? The first point, you can check Gartner report, Gartner Magic Quadrant, Magic Quadrant. So images, you can check these images. Splunk is leader. Wait, it is not showing perfect. Okay, wait. You can check the report. Sim tools. Where is this? Yes, IEM 2024 and 2025. So Splunk, sir, but it is not showing visibility. But Splunk is the first one. After that, Microsoft Sentinel it is there. Okay, we are going to cover both, sir, but mostly Splunk. It is leader of the SIM tool. Okay, sir, only on the basis of Gartner only we are choosing Splunk. Only on the basis of Gartner only we are choosing Splunk. No, there are multiple features are there in the Splunk. Okay, as already discussed, it is a sharp knife. You can use for multiple purposes. It can be done the business analytics. It can be done some observability activities. It can be done monitoring and IT operations, and it also can suitable for security operations. 4 modules it will be master, and it is not only for 2025, sir. 24 from past 10 years onwards, it is in the top 5. Now, after purchasing Cisco 2023, if they purchased starting of 2024 and December 2023, they purchased the Splunk. Cisco purchased the Splunk. From 2024-25, it is in top. First one. Previously, top 5 it will be. You got my point. This is the first reason we are going with Splunk. And the second reason, in the technical point of view, a simple word, one word, use storage capacities in the form of clusters. Cluster is nothing but group of servers. If you talk about Indian Airlines will generate a multiple TBs of data per day, per hour itself. In hour, it will generate some TBs of data. Let's say if you want to store at least 3 months data, how much capacity you need, how much storage capacities you need, use storage capacities is needed. You got my point. Use management systems is needed. That time definitely needs to be supported with big data. Big data. So Splunk exactly supports with big data. The biggest asset of the Splunk is it will it's like behave like a big data. So the small statement, use storage capacities in the form of clusters. Okay. So actually where the cluster concept came, the cluster concept came from big data Hadoop. The cluster concept came from the big data Hadoop. Did you heard about Hadoop anytime?
Yeah.
What is the Hadoop?
One kind of programming language. So for the like is like database type. If you have to store
Actually, it is a data warehouse. Like a database. Okay, it is a data warehouse. So in normally we'll just somewhere deviated to the topic only to understand this point. I will try to explain the entire concept what happened in the real time. Okay, so in simple understanding, it is general understanding purpose only, sir, not used for us. Okay, I already told you on yesterday class. Let's assume that you have some database which should be RDBMS, Relational Database Management System, or NoSQL database, NoSQL database like MongoDB. Okay, whatever it means, MongoDB. Let's say HDFC Bank is the application. So many people are using this HDFC Bank and they're doing a lot of transactions. Let's say, what's your name? Manoj. Manoj is using HDFC Bank and he is trying to send some money to his friend. So for that, what you need to do, you need to log into HDFC Bank account. And after that, you need to add a beneficiary account as his friend. And after that, you need to select that beneficiary account after activation. And then you need to type the money, how much the money you want to send it. And you need to select your friend account. And then you need to submit the process so that your money will be detected from your account. And then that will be sent it to your friend's account. First money will be detected from your account, then it will send to your friend's account. In this process, anything will be wrong, that entire process will be rolled back. The entire process will be rolled back. That means that again you need to start from the first step. Okay, this all we call it as a acid properties. What it called as acid properties. All this we call it as a transactions. All these transactions was maintained in the databases. All these transactions was maintained in the databases. That means if you are doing any transactions or any operations, you are maintaining on the specific database, so specific application. That application registers some data, okay, required data into the databases in the form of acid properties. Got my point? Now, if you want to do data analysis, what you need to do? If you want to do data analysis, wherever the data you have, okay, you need to connect to that systems, okay, and then you need to do a data analysis. Now, yes or no? Yes or no? Now tell me, you are using some Power BI, Tableau, or SQL client, and you are doing data analysis on the top of databases. For example, on the databases, suppose you are expecting a huge data analysis. What will happen? The database is already connected to real time. It is keep on writing the data from the HDFC Bank. And the other hand, you are querying the data, you are reading the data. Suppose I am teaching the class, sir. Somebody is calling from outside. With my hand gesture, I gave a reply. That is a small operation, no disturbance of class. Why? Because I'm really lively connected. Na? Somebody asked me, call me from outside, but I with a hand I gave the reply. There were no disturbance of the class, but I need to go there. That is a large operation, big operation. On that case, your class will be disturbed. Same here. Normal day-to-day reports, okay, weekly reports or monthly reports, okay. You can create on the top of the database, no problem. Small operation. For example, last year sales and 2 years sales you need to compare. You need to compare last 10 years data. You need to apply lot of complex queries. At that time, what will happen? Your database degradation will be happen. Performance degradation will be happen. Database getting a more burden. Yes or no? Same. How if I went to there, your class will be disturbed. Na? Same. Live operations will be disturbed. Got my point? Live operations will be disturbed means you can't maintain your live operations. So that real-time operations or real-time reports will be incorrect. Got my point? So in that case, it is not the best practice. It is not at all a best practice. Why? Because you are connected to the live systems, production systems. It is not correct. You got my point? That's why what they will do is they won't connect to the directly databases for the data analysis. Got my point? Where they will connect, I will talk later. Before that, in the databases, we have two processes. One is online process and other one is batch process. Online and a batch process. Online batch process and a batch process. What is online process and what is batch process? So, sir, RDMS databases means relational database management systems. They are very good and reliable and faster. But what is the drawback in the RDBMS databases, sir? They are weaker in capacity. What is that? Weaker in capacity. Weaker in capacity. Okay. Then no SQL databases, MongoDBs are there come into the picture. They are good in capacity while compared to RDBMS databases. Okay. But unfortunately, what happened in the NoSQL databases, they are weaker in batch processing. You got my point? Okay, RDBMS databases are good, reliable, faster, but weaker in capacity. Okay, if you want to go with the capacity wise, if you choose a NoSQL databases, they are weaker in batch processing. But that's why most of the people will use RDBMS databases in the real time. Even NoSQL databases are there. I'm not telling that NoSQL database is not at all using, but most of the use cases are reliable and secure and faster is RDBMS database. Then what is online process and what is batch processing? For example, you have HDFC Bank. You are checking your own transactions. You are checking your own balance. You are doing your own operations that will consider as an online process. End of the month, manager will add you some interest to your account. And all FDs will be credited interest rate. FD accounts. Okay. And anybody are not maintaining a minimum balances, for that account some money will be added. Minuses, deficiency will be added. Credits. Okay. All this will be the manager process on the branch. That process we call it as batch processing. Basically, batch processing is nothing but historical process, whereas the online process is nothing but real-time process. Got my point? With these two processes, okay, RDBMS databases is good enough, okay, whereas our NoSQL databases are bad in batch processing. Anyways, whatever the requirement, company requirement, they will use RDBMS or NoSQL databases. But whatever the database it should be, these databases are not good to do data analysis. Why? Because they are connected with a real-time systems, production systems. If you connect, very basic analysis you can apply, not a complex analysis. Understand, sir? That means that if you want to do data analysis, we need a separate alternate systems. Alternate systems. Got my point, sir? So what is that alternate system? See, That's why all this data will be maintained in the storages first. I'm talking in the 2000s, sir. 2000s. I'm talking the 2000 year. Okay. They used to store the data in the storages called, what is that storages names?
Yeah.
Magnetic tapes. Did you heard about this magnetic tapes? Magnetic tapes. Magnetic tapes. Cassettes, sir. These are the magnetic tapes. They used to store the data here in these magnetic tapes in the 2000. After that, what they will do is, if you want to do the data analysis, again, this storage will be connected to the computer, and with the computer, they will process the data. Okay. And one of the worst thing in the magnetic tapes is, if you want to do maintenance for this tape, entire tape data needs to be transferred to another tape, and you need to do the maintenance for this existing tape. Very costly on the maintenance. Okay. And after that, but so many people, so many days we have used this storages. But for you, you know that how to listen the songs in the tape. But companies knows that how to store the data here. Okay. Then they used to store the data in the floppy floppy disk. So if you know the floppy disk, this is the floppy disk. So in our computer labs, we have full of racks. That racks consist of full of floppies. Why that many floppies, we don't know. There are hundreds of floppies are there in the computer lab. Why? Because they are weaker in storage capabilities. If you want to store the bulk of data, for example, 1 TB of data, 100 floppies is 1 TB. For 1 TB, 100 floppies is needed. But anyways, so many days they are using floppies. But what happened with these floppies is, if you keep all 100 floppies, so there is a chance of rust that played. So there is a lot of chance to corrupt your data. And also use investment purchasing the more floppies. But anyways, they use so many days, and after that they used to store the data in the CDs and DVDs. CDs and DVDs. I think all you guys know this CDs and DVDs. Yes, sir. CDs and DVDs. So what happened in the CDs and DVDs at the time? One CD cost of 40 to 50 rupees, and a DVD cost of 80 to 90 rupees. And also, if you choose a CD, 1.5 to 2 GB only you can store. For DVD, you can store up to 2 to 2.75 GB data only, not more than 2.5 GB. After all supporting files was completed, that means 1 GB cost of around 40 to 50 rupees at that time. But anyways, we used these DVDs, and even I have my DVDs in my home. Still, I have a lot of DVDs. Around 50 DVDs are there.
Floppies also.
You have floppies, okay? I don't have. I have a DVDs, not CDs. DVDs are there. 50 DVDs are there. My photos and other things are there. Okay, but at that time, all my pocket money will be gone to that purchasing the DVDs only. Too much of cost. But and one of the important thing is that if you try to check now, there is a scratches. With that scratches, if I play the DVD video or something like that, my video will be disturbed, blurred, or something like that. Starting. So there is a lot of scope to corrupt your data. You got my point. And also to cost her at that time. Again, there is another computer system is needed for doing the data analysis again. Okay. And after that, they got a sandboxes. So call it as a SAN storage area network, SAN, or network area attached storages. Both are there, SAN and storage, NASS. SAN is storage area network, network attached storages. If you observe, these are the big boxes which will be used for the storages. And if you want to connect big storages, you need to connect within the network. Okay, so it needs a large network to operate, but one of the best storages at that time. So many, I think one decade they can depend on these sandboxes.
Data centers.
One decade, almost one decade, they depend on these sandboxes. One of the biggest. Now also some of the companies, they are using sandboxes.
College is also
Hmm.
using.
See, sandboxes, oldest technology and best technology. But what is the problem with these sandboxes is huge hardware system is needed, more investment, and that too network, huge network area is required. If any network fails happen, you can't understand where that storage has happened. Entire more dedicated team is needed for operating these things. But anyways, people are using this one, and they attach use as a storages, and they work for that. And still people are not satisfied with these activities. Then in 2004, Teradata come into the picture. The first two data warehouse, the first two data warehouse come into the picture, sir. Teradata. So it has its inbuilt computing system. So no extra computer is needed for processing the data. It is exclusively used to maintain the analytical data. So from that system itself, you can do data analytics. Like directly, Power BI people will connect to Teradata and process the data and create analytics. You got my point? Yes or no? This is a data warehouse. Actually, this we call it as a OLTP systems, online transactional process systems. And this we call it as the OLAP systems, online analytical process systems. Again, storages are maintained here only, sir. For analytical process, there is a outcome called Teradata. This we call it as a data OLAP systems, online analytical process systems, which is exclusively used for data analytics. So that means whatever the data maintained here, okay, that will be maintained in the short period, like 1 year, 2 year data, and all current and historical data will be maintained here. For example, HDFC Bank, 30 years onwards in the industry. That means 30 years data will be here. Only latest 2 to 3 years will be here. You got my point? Suppose you request a 1 year statement, they will get the data from the databases. That's why immediately your data will be processed, and immediately within the short time, you will get a statement for your mail. Why? Because that already connected and scheduled in the databases itself, scheduled task. Let's say if you connect for the 4 year statement, they will take minimum 3 to 4 days, or at least 2 days. Some of the companies will take 48 hours only, 24 hours. Why? Because the request needs to goes to the database, data warehouse team, analytical team. Okay, this is one team, this is another team. Then why? Because the data, last 4 years data will be in the data warehouse, not in the databases. That's why that will be separate. So the request will goes to another team. The team will process and it will give the data. That's why it will take time. That's why in our grandmother time, so at least 10 days, 15 days also they will took. Why? Because they need to process from the magnetic tapes and they need a computer. Okay, that much of sufficient team is not available for that. That's why 10 days, 1 month also they will take if you want a long period data statement. Nowadays, they are giving within short time. Even online also they are not providing. Only 1 year only they are providing. Some HDFC bank they are providing 2 years, I think so, 2 years to 3 years. Why? Because they are using NoSQL databases, stronger in capacity. Whatever it may be, we are not going deep details of technicals, just understanding. Now Teradata come into the picture, so that from here Power BI people or data analytical people will connect and they will create analytics. All are happy. Then what is the problem with Teradata? All are happy. What is the problem with Teradata? Teradata standards are up to 300 to 400 TB of data only, not more than that. Why? Because it can go up to 2048 nodes only. Node is nothing but server. Node is nothing but server. Databases are going up to 256 nodes only. Got my point. That's why there is a limitation on 1 year, 2 year old. Data warehouse limitation for 2 years, 3 years, 5 years like that. After that, 30 years data means again Teradata won't sufficient. Teradata won't perform. Got my point. Then in 2006, in a 2006, Hadoop systems will come into the picture. Hadoop, the big data, come into the picture. Got my point. 2006, I think 2006, not 2005 itself. Actually, 2006 cloud will come into the picture. Okay, 2005 itself Hadoop, okay. But they start using from 11 12, sir. Not 2006 only. They starting using from 11 12. It was famous on 11 12. Actually, at my BTech of final year, I used to go to my brother's home, brother's room. Actually, they are bachelors. At the time, they completed their degrees and BTechs. So out of 10 people in the room, 8 people learn the big data, Hadoop. In Amirpet, every institute having a big data Hadoop with a elephant symbol. Out of 100 institutes, 100 people will teach that Hadoop big data. New technology and vast technology, and one of the feature, actually because of Hadoop only entire storage systems was changed. One of the miracle happened at the time. 2010 recession was came actually. One of the bloody worst recession happened on the time. Got my point. From 2013 Hadoop only it will get back from that. At my 2012-13, if I want to listen or if you want to purchase a mobile, 512 MB is the storage. After Hadoop, 512 TB. It's small chip also. Why? Because it is all came from Hadoop actually. Now you are using 512 TB within the small chip means because of Hadoop. Hadoop platform. That miracle happened with Hadoop on the storages. Mata Pita Daivam for storage is Hadoop. Got my point. So Hadoop 2006 means 11 12 it was started actually. After that, what happened? Hadoop having unlimited storage capabilities. How Hadoop is maintaining unlimited data storage is in the form of clusters. In the form of, what are the biggest advantages in the Hadoop is, please observe. One is unlimited data storage, and the second one is it will follow the HDFS file system. HDFS storage system. Storage system. What is HDFS for storage? Hadoop distributed file system. Hadoop distributed file system. The same file system is used by cloud. Right now, AWS, Azure, GCP are using distributed file system, DFS. That is Hadoop distributed. This is DFS, distributed file system. What is distributed file system? Nothing, sir. Data will be stored as a files. Whatever the data input you are giving, that will be stored as a file. Like for example, D drive. In your data, you have a video. The video is storing as a .mp3 na, mp4 na. So this is file system. The data was stored in this file system. Got my point? That is nothing but data was stored in the files. And one more important in the Hadoop is, for example, if you store some data, for example, some table data, it was stored in a CSV file. CSV file. And that too, CSV file will be stored like this, csv.gz. Okay. And also that will be encrypted. And also that will be compressed. If you give 100 GB, it will only store 20 to 30 GB on. And that too encrypted securely. and all the files, whatever the input you are giving, all will be stored as a files. If you give files CSV, GZ, if you give some percative files, Snappy is the compression format. You got my point. Different predefined compression formats they will use, and they will use to store the data. Okay, and that data unlimited, how it is getting is why? Because it is in the form of clusters. The data was in the form of clusters. Cluster is nothing but group of servers, sir. Let's say, for example, this is our one cluster. In this cluster, one server, two server, three server. Got my point? Like multiple servers you can maintain. And if you not feel like one cluster is enough, one more cluster. One more cluster. As a simple understanding, sir. Database is nothing but car, sir. Not more than 12 people. Whether it is NoSQL database or, for example, normal car 4, some SVV 7 people, Tavera 12, 13 people we can go. Okay, whether it is NoSQL database. Teradata is nothing but bus, whether it is double deck or whatever it may be, not more than 100 people. Okay. Now come to the Hadoop. It is a train, sir. Just attach the bogies. Bogie is nothing but cluster. On the bogie, seats is nothing but servers. How many servers you can increase? You can increase in the bogie. If you feel one bogie is not sufficient, and more bogie, another bogie, another bogie. See how many bogies you want, you can attach. You got my point? And both will be supported with two process. One is vertical scaling, and other one is horizontal scaling. Very important, sir. As a data engineer persons, you need to understand this too. What is vertical scaling? For example, you have a computer. The computer having 60 GB RAM and 500 GB hard disk. You feel that it is not sufficient. What you will do? You upgrade it to 32 GB and 1 TB. You are not happy with that also. 64 GB, 2 TB. Okay. Now you need 64 TB and 3 TB, but you don't have that sufficient amount. You're degrading na 32 GB to 1 TB. Simply increasing of hardware within the computer and decreasing the hardware within the computer is called vertical scaling. Within a computer, increasing or decreasing the hardware, simply call it as scale up and scale down. What is that, sir? Scale down. Increasing means scale up, decreasing means scale down. It's called vertical scaling. For example, this is the hardware. This hardware will support up to 64 TB of RAM, 64 GB of RAM only. It won't support. The motherboard won't support. But you need more. Then entire hardware system needs to be changed. Na?
Sure.
Yes or no? But I don't want to change the entire hardware system. But you need more. Then what you will do? You will purchase one more computer. Yes or no? For classes, one computer. For some other practicals, one computer. You got my point? I need some multiple computers, so that I will purchase multiple computers. Suppose multiple computers I feel burden. Instead of 3, 2 computers. Instead of 4, 2 computers. You got me? Scale out and see, increasing the computers and decreasing the computers. That means scale out and scale in. Very, very important, sir. Scale in. Scale out and scale in. Increasing of computers in your environment and decreasing the computer in your environment. Call it as a horizontal scaling. For example, I said bogie. In the bogie, there is a computers. Seats are the one seat you keep. If you feel not sufficient, 5 12 seats you can keep. 1 seat to 512 seats you can increase, or 512 to 1 seat you can decrease. You got my point? This is called vertical scaling. One bogie is not sufficient. You are keeping one more bogie, another bogie. 10 out of 10 bogies, 5 bogies only it will travel. Out of 5 bogies, it's not sufficient. 10 bogies you can attach. That is called horizontal scaling. Simple, within the computer, your hardware is increasing and decreasing. That is a vertical scaling. Within the environment, computers are increasing and decreasing. That is a horizontal scaling. Both will be supported in the Hadoop systems. That's why you can increase the computers in the cluster or decreasing the computers in the cluster, or you can increase the clusters also, bogies also, or decreasing the clusters also. See, one computer having 1 TB. If you have 100 computers, means 100 TB. How much storage it should be? Got my point? All because of Hadoop systems. These changes will happen with a Hadoop system. That's why it can support for unlimited data. Now understand, sir, Hadoop system. Same system can be used in Splunk. Same in Splunk also you can add 1 cluster, 2 cluster, 3 cluster, multiple clusters also. Okay. Otherwise, within the cluster, 1 server, 10 server, 100 server, 250 servers. Vertical scaling will support, horizontal scaling will support. Got my point, sir? Yes, sir. That's why Splunk have that much of use capacities in the form of big data, in the form of clusters, big data clusters. Okay, not yet completed, sir. Wait, we'll understand more in this topic itself. Now Hadoop is happy, na? You are good in Hadoop, na? You can maintain unlimited data, na? Then problem came into the picture. What the problem it is? Whatever this unlimited data is maintained on premises. On-prem. Hadoop systems are on-prem systems, sir. That means you are telling that 100 bogies, na? 100 bogies means 2000 computers, na? All you need to purchase. You need to maintain in the company premises. You need a climate controller. You need a maintenance room. You need a power consumption, power supply. Huh? Everything. If something happened to that room, entire things will be collapsed. No backup. What are the problems with on-prem? Investment, more investment, wastage. For example, you purchase 100 servers, you need 200. You are utilizing only 50 servers. What about 50 servers? Wastage. Limitation. Suppose you have 100 servers, but you need 200 servers. No, again you need to invest. Limitation, power consumption, maintenance overhead. Next, installation, time taken, everything. Suppose you set up in India, your users are from USA. All guys are searching from India, means latency. Power fluctuation happened and room was collapsed. No disaster recovery. All these are the problems in the on-premises. You got my point? Then what people will do? People won't decide to go to the cloud. Why? Because still they don't have awareness on the cloud. Actually, cloud was came on 2006 itself, but start using from 2016 and 17. 16 and 17. But still people are adjusting the things within the on-premises itself. No. What they decided, why we need to maintain entire data? For example, you have a 512 GB in your 2013, you have a mobile of 512 MB. You just have hundreds, 10 songs, very liked songs. A new movie come into the picture. Again, I want to have 10 songs. Is it possible? No. Why? Because that will be sufficient up to 10 songs only. Then what you will do? The old songs will be deleted and new songs will be added. Na? That means what it means? Only required data you are maintaining. Not required data, delete. Or storages, extra storages. You got my pen drive, CD, DVDs, like that they will use to maintain. Only what analytical data you want, That data used to maintain in the Hadoop. Not all data. For example, out of 100 GB data, you need only 50 GB data. Only 50 GB data will be maintained. On the top of it, they used to apply the analytical things. You got my point? For segregation, that segregations, we need extra process now. That's why ETL come into the picture. ETL not yet come first. After Hadoop only. Then ETL come into the picture. What is ETL? Extract, transform, load. It will extract the data from the databases. It will transform what the data required and what the data not required. Okay. And after that, it will load the data into Hadoop systems. Got my point, sir? Example, Informatica, Talent, data stages. Okay. SSIS. Like multiple tools are there. Informatica, Talent, or multiple tools are there. Whatever it may be, sir. It is not our subject, just understanding purpose. Got my point? Now what it will happen? Based on the requirement, they used to transform the data, customize the data, and filter the data. Then they will maintain the data in the Hadoop systems. And Hadoop will serve the data to business analytical people. Okay, business analytical people like data scientist people, data engineer people, data analyst people, or other people like data mining people, or Splunk guys also can connect. Got my point? Can connect for doing the data analytics. Again, problem come into the picture. Again, problem come into the picture. Why? For example, and our parents are drinking the water from directly from the tank. Yes or no? There is a tank on home, top of the home. They directly drink water without any filters. Yes or no? They just take the water from glass and they drink it. Tank is a database, glass is a data warehouse. Then our what you our generation what then directly drinking a filter it in the middle, filter, that is ETL. They will customize, they will transfer, they remove the unwanted water, and they remove the not actually you are thinking that is they remove the wanted data and we are drinking wasted water in our generation. You got my point? Now coming generation, alkaline water. Hey, no RO, no UV, alkaline water. Kohli is drinking alkaline water. I am also needs to drink alkaline water. That means more filtering is needed. Same like that, Hadoop systems also facing a problem. Big ETL tools also facing a problem. That is filter problem. RO UV is not sufficient. So alkaline is needed. That's why it is needed based on the requirement. Analytical people are always expecting a multiple business rules. Today they have 100 rules. Tomorrow they are immediately increasing to 200 rules. Why? Business people don't have stable mindset. Based on the business happened in their companies, they used to change the rules. You got my point? Based on the rules, new fields needs to be onboarded. You got my point? Today, this guy is expecting 10 fields, sir. Tomorrow, he is expecting 20 fields means ETL operations will be increasing. Na? Business rules are increasing. Na? Based on the business rules, ETL tools are needs to be transform the data, na? Filter the data, na? Getting the data. Na? Yes or no? At the time, ETL tools facing the burden. Then ETL tools also separated. How filters are? This is the filter of UV and RO. If you want alkaline, you need to pay extra 10,000. You alkaline filters came into the picture now. Same like that. Based on the process, online process and batch processing is there now. Online process they will use another tools. Batch processing they will use these tools. So for batch processing, Informatica, Talent, these two type of tools we will use. Online process means more compute power is needed now. That's why they use a Spark. What is that? Spark is a ETL, sir. That's my point. But if you observe in the market, every time Spark with Hadoop. Spark with Hadoop only. Why? Actually, Spark is a ETL processor. Needs a it has a huge compute engine. It has a huge compute engine to process a huge online process. You got my point. But unfortunately, the Spark needs a cluster. It needs a cluster to operate. But unfortunately, it don't have any own cluster. దానికి ఒక ముసుగు కావాలి, ఆ ముసుగులు దానికి లేదు. ఎవరికి ఉంది? అడూప్కి ఉంది కదా. సో ఇట్ హ్యాస్ అడూప్ నా, అడూప్ హ్యాస్ దట్ క్లస్టర్ నా, సో దట్ క్లస్టర్ విల్ బి యూజ్డ్ బై Spark. So only Hadoop having a cluster? No, third party clusters also there. The Mesos clusters are there. You can use Mesos clusters also for Spark. But for understanding purpose, Spark with Hadoop. Spark will process your data, customize your data of online, whereas Informatica talent will be work with a batch process. Like that, they separated. Got my point, sir? Now everything will be happy, and Hadoop systems will maintain only exact data for the analytical process, and analytical people will come and connect to Hadoop systems and they're querying the data. That's my point. And creating a reports and alerts. Now databases are safe, ETL tools are safe, data warehouse teams are safe, and also again data warehouse is taking burden again. Why? All the data is in data warehouses only, na? So here data analytical teams are there. Some people are working for the production based data, some people are working for transaction based, some people are working for the sales based data. You got my point. In that case, all guys are come and pointed on the data warehouses. What will happen? Again data warehouses get into the burden. Sir, understand why? Because you need some certain data, this guy needs some other data, this guy is needed. All 100 users are pointing on the same data warehouse to retrieve the data. What will happen? Again slowness. That's why that's after the data warehouse there is a data marts. Data marts will be separate and segregate the data. From there, data scientist will connect to one mart, data analytical people will connect to one mart, and the data mining people will connect to one other mart, and they query the data and creating analytics. Got my point, sir? Yes or no? This is the process. Now again people are facing a problem on a large scale. Okay, that's why this all process was updated to cloud. That's why same process, sir, everywhere, every industry, every thing, this is the process. Even in Splunk also same process we are following. In data scientist also we are facing for same process. Anywhere you need to follow this process on this process. Which tools you are using, your wish. And this entire process was implemented on waterfall methodology and agile methodology. Then DevOps team will come into the picture. Okay, here query development is the developer, code pushing, code pulling, these all come under the agile process and the DevOps process. You got my point? But this is the process you are working. Got my point? Yes or no? Now my question is cloud into coming into picture. So the cloud databases are coming to the picture, cloud ETL tools are coming to the picture, cloud data warehouse are coming to the picture, cloud data analytical tools are coming to the picture. Got my point, sir? Cloud databases, for example, AWS, RDS, relational database systems. Okay, ETL tools, Glue, ADF, Azure Data Factory, Matillion, DBT, like that. Data warehouse, Snowflake, Snowflake, like the Redshift, BigQuery, Synopsys. These all are the ETL tools. That's a data warehouse tools. Power BI, Tableau are the on-prem. MS Fabric, Athena, QuickSight, Looker. These all are the tools of cloud analytical tools. This is about, sir. Now you understand what is database, what is ETL, what is streaming ETL tools, Spark cloud-based Databricks. Spark is on-prem, na? Cloud-based Spark is Databricks. If you talk about Azure Databricks, Microsoft people purchase the Databricks license and they change that Ravi Bhavachi, Ravi Venkatna, like that they used to keep Azure Bhavachi, Azure Databricks. Snowflake, Snowpark, Python based PySpark. Understand? Like that, the process will be implemented. All data warehouse you understand, analytical tools you understand, ETL tools you understand, and database you understand. Now just to correlate everything in the Splunk. Now what is your duty? You need to monitor. For example, Indian Airlines. Indian Airlines systems are in Mumbai. Okay, these are Indian license systems. I need to monitor these servers. 1,000 servers are there. I want to monitor these servers. Okay, that means I need to get this data to Splunk. Na? Okay, okay, and after that, the Splunk needs to be create a data analytics. That means to collect the data Splunk, it will collect the data. Splunk will collect the data and send the data to another Splunk. Another Splunk will receive the data and store the data. And after that, another Splunk will search the data. Now assume that this is database, this is storage systems, this is analytical systems. In this storage system itself, you can use ETL process also. Once the data is inputted, there is a props and transforms. Props and transforms before storing. Before storing. This we call it as ETL. See, data is collecting. Then you are customizing, you are transforming, and you're parsing and filtering. And after that, you are storing the data. And whatever the storage data will be, such by separate server, which will have a capability to create a visualizations and reports and dashboards. Okay. Whatever the data collection, data processing, data transformation, data storing, we call it as a Splunk admin. Okay. And this we call it as a Splunk developer. Understand? Now come to the security point of view. So you have a network devices, routers, switches, and everything. Na? All these devices, databases, Azure. I need to collect the data from that servers. And after that, I need to customize it. I need to filter it and I need to store it. That is SIEM module, security information and event management. Collecting, correlating, normalizing, and storing. SOC Analyst, creating implementation, use case implementation. What is brute force? Which server is down? Which server is running? Okay, which server is impacting? Which server having a malware? All these are use cases implementation. On the top of Splunk development part, there is a ES application. With this application, they can use SOC operations. Same process can I explain in your mobile? There is a mobile. First, you need to install the SIM. After installing the SIM, you need to on the SIM. After on your mobile. After that, you need to dump the contacts first. Without contacts, you can't do operations. If you want to use a WhatsApp, you can't use WhatsApp without contacts. First, you need to dump the contacts. That is storage data. On the data, you need to use applications like Telegram, WhatsApp, whatever you want. So dumping the data, maintaining the contacts is a admin activities, SIM activities. Okay. WhatsApp usage, Telegram usage is a specialization. For example, there is a here in the Splunk itself. Splunk itself is a search and report application is there. Okay, like WhatsApp. With this application, you can search the data and you can create reports and business analytics. There is a ES application, enterprise security, which is used for SOC operations, like Telegram. Okay, there is a ITSI application. It will be exclusively used for IT operations and monitoring. There is another application called Machine Learning Toolkit. Machine Learning Toolkit. It can be done with a data scientist operation. You no need to know about algorithm like LLM model or NLP. You no need. There is a simple command called fit command in this MLTK. We call the pit with the help of fit command. We can call the algorithm and we can apply. That means predictive operations can be applied. All this can be done. That means you can Power BI Tableau activities you can do, data scientist activities you can do, SOC operations you can do. If you know the Splunk and the process involved in the Splunk admin and development or SIM admin and SOC analyst, entirely this image, this process now. Where is that process? I will show you. Here is that pipeline. In our front office also the pipeline will be there. Database, ETL, data warehouse, and then analytical tools. Here Splunk also you can utilize. Even some of the use cases we connected to directly to data warehouses. From there you will use to get the data. Even Splunk also can be connected here also, database. Like normal operations they used to connect with the help of DB connector. There is a connector, DB connector. With the help of DB connector, directly you can connect the database and you can do data analysis. Or you can connect directly Snowflake, like data warehouse, and you can do data analysis. Otherwise, you can directly work with the log files.
Based on the specific requirement.
Same, if you observe, this is one pipeline. Na? This is one, this is two, and this is three. Na? Same, if you observe Splunk chart. Mm. This is databases. Actual data is stored here, and we need to get the data to Splunk. See, this is clustering. Data is storing in the clusters, and there itself we can transform that ETL operations also you can apply before storing. And once the data is stored, this will search the data, create a reports, alerts, dashboards.
So indexes will different, cluster will different.
Indexers only in the cluster. Indexer means one server.
Okay.
Cluster is nothing but group of servers.
Node?
Node is nothing but server. Node means server.
Okay.
Multiple nodes we call it as a one cluster.
Hmm.
See, this is one node or one server.
Okay.
Multiple nodes we call it as a cluster. Before storing itself, we can maintain ETL operations. I already told you props and transforms. With that, we can use all filtering of all cleaning, IO, RO, all you can do. And here you can search your data. See, this is database, this is ETL and data warehouse, and this is data analytical tools, Power BI, Tableau, whatever. So this entire explanation is for only one point. Splunk has used storage capacities in the form of clusters. You need to remember only that point. No need all this information.
Who knows? Who's expert in the cluster? Is a something.
Clear? This is a first point we are explained about why Splunk. And we have another points why we are going with Splunk. Even though, this much of storage also, Splunk will search the data very faster, and it deals with any type of data. It's not only for one type of data. Okay, it can be support for on-premises, cloud, and other clouds also. And more integration possibilities. Splunk itself acts as a storage, such visualization, and Splunk supports with vertical scaling and horizontal scaling, and good community support, good documentation, and Splunk not only for one operation, it can be cybersecurity SOC analyst, IT operation monitoring, application observability, and business analytics. I will explain all the points on tomorrow class. I will explain. Just read it. I read it. Only one point I explained. High storage capacities in the form of clusters. Cluster is nothing but group of servers. Where it was came? It was came from the Hadoop systems. Actually, Splunk for big data is the first initial stage. Now Splunk is for the security operations because of Cisco. And do you have any questions? Please ask me. Otherwise, I will drop the section for today and we'll meet on tomorrow with more content. And don't panic with this entire class, sir. No need to learn everything. Just understanding is enough for this class. Only one point you need to remember in the interview point of view. Why Splunk means you need to tell that it has a huge storage capacities in the form of clusters. It can be support for vertical scaling and horizontal scaling. This is only the point you need. Thank you. Thanks for your time. Have a nice day.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.